Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Aaron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day's a great day not to be in a cult. Grant Cardone done messed up. The internet's most famous fake billionaire. The internet's most famous Scientologist. Yes, Grant Cardone. It's amazing how many people still don't know that Grant Cardone is a Scientologist. Not only is he a Scientologist, he is as high level of a Scientologist as Tom Cruise. Grant Cardone is one of the #1 recruiters and #1 financial supporters of the international multi-billion-dollar human trafficking cult known as Scientology. And Grant Cardone done messed up when he filed a $100 million lawsuit against former T-Mobile CEO John Legere for calling Grant Cardone a fraud and a con man. What's the problem? Grant Cardone is a fraud. He is a con man. So I did a video maybe a couple months ago now, giving an update in the lawsuit. This is the lawsuit that Grant Cardone has brought against John Legere. This is a huge mistake. And yet, Grant Cardone published this update to Twitter today, denied retired CEO John Legere's motion to dismiss Grant Cardone's $100 million defamation lawsuit was denied by the Florida courts today. And then I guess Grant Cardone is publishing a quote from himself. There's no press release, so he's literally just quoting himself in his own tweet. The out-of-work CEO will have something to do now, as I am going to go 24/7, 365, making sure he never again attempts to cause damages to my brand, my name, my reputation, or my business ever again, Grant Cardone. It is so strange that Grant Cardone uniquely singles out John Legere as damaging Cardone's, he says, brand, name, reputation, or business. The internet and the YouTubes are absolutely littered with videos calling Grant Cardone a con man, a fraud, a liar, a fake billionaire, all of these things. I mean, I've been doing it on this channel for years because it's just the truth. And so I wanted to give you, for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of hearing the dressing down that John Legere gave to Grant Cardone, the dressing down that led to this lawsuit, it is my pleasure, it is my honor to share with you some select portions of a Clubhouse chat. This was a Clubhouse chat. There was maybe a couple hundred people in the room. Clubhouse is an app. It got really big during the COVID lockdowns. It's basically like live in-person group conversations, but voice only, no video, no FaceTime, no nothing like that. And I have 4 very short segments of this thing that I want to play for you. I absolutely love listening to this thing. I hope you guys love it too. Here, this first clip is 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Why are you trying to diminish everybody in the room?
No, just you, Grant, because you're a fucking con man. I'll say this on this room right now. I believe that in the next year, Grant Cardone will be found guilty of fraud. I believe that Grant Cardone will be found guilty of fraud, and I want nothing to do with it.
John, do you know of anybody that I have been fraudulent to?
I think you're a fake, somebody that says I used to be an addict, and I think you're fake. That's my opinion.
Well, thank you. But you've never done business with me. You've never given
and
me
I wouldn't
anything.
do business with you, Grant. You've been begging me to do business with you for 5 years, and I won't.
I don't think I've ever offered you any money to do anything or any partnership.
By the way, he's not a billionaire.
Yep.
He doesn't have close to $1 billion. And he is somebody.
How do you know?
Somebody here. He's somebody who is self-promoting. And if you go to the world, go to the world of CNBC, go to CNN, go to the world, ask about Grant Cardone. He doesn't exist.
How do you know what I'm worth, John?
How do I know what you're spending under the radar to live your lifestyle?
Boom. Okay, good. That is the first clip. The second clip is shorter. It's only about 35 seconds long. Let me cue that up. All right, here we go.
Are you a billionaire?
John, what do you know about my
finance? Here's your chance, Grant. Are you a billionaire?
I don't need a chance with you. You're the
one
that's coming in here.
Tell the group. Hey, Grant, your profile says you're a billionaire. Are you a billionaire?
John, I'm not going to even answer your questions right now.
Are you close?
Until you answer some of mine, I'm not going to answer yours, okay?
Let the group know that a very simple statement is Grant Cardone a billionaire? Yes or no? He won't answer.
Well, it'd be hard for me to state that. I don't know how I could state that publicly and it not be true without having banks come back and say, bro, what are you doing?
So you know what the answer is, Grant? You're not.
John,
assets versus debt. With a market at 7% mortgage rates, how you doing?
John,
Oh my God, giving him an absolute shellacking. Okay, the next clip is 1 minute long and begins right here.
Grant, I believe you're a con man.
That. You don't believe
I
that.
I believe you are a con man of the highest order.
And you understand my business depends on my reputation and on
presenting
to the public.
Okay. This is con man number 101. Try to find a little legal issue. Grant, I believe you're a con man. That's my personal belief. Hey, Grant, are you going to sick the church? Are you going to sick the church on me now? Because I know the church has a big issue with people that are anti, big players like you. Hey, and are you not the biggest contributor to the church, or no? Is the Top Gun guy still ahead of you?
Why do you attack people's religion, man? I don't understand.
It's not religion. It's part of it's the whole spiel. I do understand that the church will attack those that attack you. Is this part of that?
John, man, bro, you got to get some help, pal.
Okay. The next clip. Shoot, I didn't mark down. Oh, because the next clip runs until the end of the video. Okay, check this out, guys.
Go ahead. Tell the church to come get me, Grant. And Grant, how do you think that's going to play in your big opinion about yourself and what people think about you if you're going to go and have this conversation? He said, I'm a fraud. So if you're that tenuous, you're a fraud, Grant.
Okay, thank you, man.
Can't wait to see you leave now. Go ahead. Take your tail between your legs and head out the door.
Okay. That was now the clip that I just played for you. That was I took the entire conversation that they had on Clubhouse and I edited it down. I kept other people were jumping into the conversation. I edited their parts out. I edited it to make it as concise as possible. This conversation, I kid you not, is the basis of Grant Cardone's lawsuit. Okay, so now I guess John Lesure's team had filed a motion to dismiss the entire case. Grant Cardone's team had filed an objection to the motion to dismiss. I mean, I'm taking Grant Cardone's tweet at face value. It sounds like the court ruled today that they weren't going to dismiss the case. Who gives a shit? Grant Cardone should want this case to be dismissed. Discovery for Grant Cardone is going to be very bad for Grant Cardone and very bad for Scientology. Why is that? Because I have very generously offered my services, good sir, to the legal team representing John Lesure. It would be my honor to submit an affidavit supporting all of the ways in which Grant Cardone is a grifter and a fraud and a liar, and all of the ways in which Grant Cardone's support of Scientology, being a recruiter for Scientology, being a fundraiser for Scientology, financially supporting Scientology, makes him a con man, a fraud, a grifter, and a liar. I mean, obviously, a statement cannot be slanderous if it is true. If it is true, and I just think if Grant Cardone is going to try to basically litigate John Lesure into silence, it's only fair, guys. It's only fair that all of Scientology's dirty deeds become part of the discovery. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of these documents. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but this is a section of John Lesure's motion to dismiss saying Grant Cardone fails to allege that any of Mr. John Lesure's statements were false statements of fact. Mr. Cardone fails to allege any false statements. The complaint should be dismissed because that identifies no statements that were false, let alone alleges why they were false. A false statement of fact. Okay, I'm not going to read all those quotations from legal cases. Grant Cardone fails to adequately allege that any statements by Mr. Leisure were false. Instead, Mr. Cardone offers only boilerplate allegations that every tweet and statement identified in the complaint is false and defamatory. A few examples highlight this fatal deficiency. Grant Cardone claims that John Leisure's statements that Mr. Cardone is not a billionaire and that his interview with Laura Trump was live are false. But Mr. Cardone does not plead that he is in fact a billionaire or that his interview was not live. And his failure to specify what about defendant's statements were false alone sufficient. And his failure to specify what about defendant's statements were false is alone sufficient grounds for dismissal. Okay, that's fine. That's the only part of John's filing that I wanted to show you. I've already done a video about John's filing. What I also want to show you is Grant Cardone's crybaby allegations about John Leisure's statements. This is a lot of fun. I just want to go through this with you. Okay, so this is just an excerpt from Cardone's filing. Cardone alleges that Leisure's statements were false statements of fact. The complaint specifically alleges that John Leisure's false statements, the complaint specifically alleges John Leisure's false statements. First, John Leisure contends that the complaint fails to identify statements that were false, let alone allege why they were false. Despite John Leisure's contention to the contrary, a cursory review of the complaint reveals that Grant Cardone very clearly alleges, indeed on numerous occasions, that John Leisure made false statements of fact. The relevant allegations in the complaint stating that John Leisure's statements were false include the following. 1, this case involves the outrageous, false, and defamatory statements made by John Leisure, wherein he attacked Grant Cardone's business, character, reputation, and, my pearls, his religious beliefs. John Leisure, who is the former CEO of T-Mobile US, publicly and maliciously attacked, injured, and defamed Cardone through his false, misleading, and disparaging statements. John Leisure was aware that the discussion was being recorded and was aware, or should have been aware, of the potential future damage that could result if others reposted the defamatory statements being made by Leisure on other social media platforms. A few examples of the defamatory statements made by John Leisure are, and then there's a footnote, and I looked for the footnote and I couldn't find all the examples, but we're just going to keep going. In addition to the above referenced defamatory remarks made by John Leisure during the exchange, Leisure has engaged in further instances of making false and defamatory statements about Grant Cardone. Some of these defamatory statements were published by John Leisure on Twitter, which were shared with John Leisure's 5.6 million followers. Yeah, okay. On February 23rd, 2023, Grant Cardone posted a Grant Cardone TV article detailing how he saved his health at age 64, to which John Leisure responded by posting steroids, falsely implying to the public that Grant Cardone saved his health by employing the use of illegal supplements, thereby attacking Cardone's reputation without basis. Grant Cardone does use steroids. Testosterone is a steroid. It is not illegal. And John Leisure's tweet speculating that Grant Cardone takes steroids is not an accusation of Grant Cardone using illegal supplements. Testosterone replacement therapy is unbelievably widespread and popular and legal. This is a purely dishonest statement or dishonest argument by Grant Cardone. He obviously takes steroids. I'm saying it. Grant Cardone obviously takes steroids. Did you guys know that Grant Cardone is an identical twin? Grant Cardone and Gary Cardone. Look at the two of them. They no longer look anything alike. Grant looks about 20 years Gary looks about 20 years older than Grant, because Gary doesn't take steroids and Grant does. This is not controversial. I mean, Grant Cardone's 10X Health Systems and all the stuff that they do relies on things like testosterone replacement therapy. This is the weirdest thing for Grant to get his panties in a bunch over. Okay, next. 48. The fact that Leisure's posts were deleted suggests that he was conscious of having published a false, defamatory, and or misleading statement. This act of removal implies an acknowledgement of the problematic nature of the content and potentially an attempt to mitigate the repercussions of the defamatory statements. All right. The statements made by Leisure in the social media posts and during the exchange are false and defamatory. Check this out, guys. Such false and defamatory statements have caused harm to Cardone and his brand in an amount believed to be no less than $100 million. How in the world does John Leisure making statements that he believes Grant Cardone is a fraud, a con man, and a liar, and he would never do business with Grant Cardone? How could Grant possibly ever argue that John Leisure is specifically and uniquely responsible for damage or losses to Grant Cardone in excess of $100 million? The internet, as I said before, is absolutely littered with former Cardone employees, clients, customers, associates calling him a fraudster, a con man, a liar, and a grifter, and a fake billionaire. I mean, what do I know, guys? I'm not a lawyer. I just grew up in a cult. But it seems to me that this is nothing but a pure harassment lawsuit. And I am a little surprised it wasn't thrown out, but it doesn't actually mean anything. Okay, let's see. So this footnote that I mentioned, paragraph 45 of the complaint sets forth 4 pages of the specific defamatory statements made by John Leisure. When I have more time to go through all the filings and the attachments and the exhibits, if I can find the 4 pages of statements that Cardone's team said were defamatory from that Clubhouse chat, I'll do a dedicated video just to that. Because again, that's the real list of Grant Cardone's crybaby complaints. Okay, 58. The unprivileged statements made by Leisure to others about Cardone are false and defamatory. At the time such statements were made by Leisure, Leisure knew or should have known that they were false and defamatory. As a proximate result of the maliciously false and defamatory publication of statements to third parties by Leisure, Cardone has been damaged. Because Leisure's defamatory statements were made with actual malice toward Cardone, Cardone reserved the right to amend in order to assert a claim for punitive damages. The unprivileged statements made by Leisure to others about Cardone are false and defamatory. At a time, wait. Okay, so this is getting a little repetitive here. Okay, repetitive. Okay. All right, let me see if there's any other part of this that I want to share. I'm not sure that there is. Okay, good. Before I put this document to rest, I'm just going to search for the word Scientology. Okay, let's see here. There are other mentions of Scientology. All right, let's take a look at this. Among the red herrings in the motion designed to distract the court is Leisure's contention that in paragraph 48 of the complaint, Mr. Cardone claims that Mr. Leisure's tweets identifying him as a Scientologist are false. Leisure engages in this tactic in order to prop up his otherwise deficient truth defense. This tactic is hollow, given that a plain review of paragraph 48 makes clear that Cardone has not alleged what Leisure argues is alleged. Okay, fine. So that's the I'm rubber, you're glue defense. To exacerbate an already caustic situation, Cardone has become aware of additional posts that were made by Leisure. These defamatory publications include March 6, 2023. Wait, where's Scientology? Wait, I thought Scientology was mentioned in there. Or is it this one? Oh, boy. Sorry, guys. I'm getting my document management skills all messed up here. Okay, well, here's an example of a tweet that they're saying John sent. Tweeting at Grant Cardone, you mean like a Scientologist, homophobe, transphobe, or is there more besides arrogant egotist? I'd love to know what he was responding to here. All right, let me pull up. There was another mention I saw of Scientology here. Give me 1 second. Oh, here we go. Okay, this gives a little more color to that. Leisure's attempts to shift away the focus of his abhorrent and false accusations against Cardone being a homophobe and transphobe by solely placing emphasis on Scientology and then claiming that Cardone has alleged that such a statement about his religious beliefs is false is not supported by the allegations of the complaint and should be disregarded as pure sophistry. The fact is, the materials of Scientology are explicitly and egregiously homophobic and transphobic. And as a matter of, to use the language that Scientology would use, as a matter of scripture, Scientologists are expected to believe and interpret literally every word that L. Ron Hubbard says. It is actually against the rules of Scientology to take any of L. Ron Hubbard's works and say, oh, that's old. We don't use that anymore. There's actually a policy in Scientology called technical degrades that deems it a high crime, a suppressive act, something that could result in expulsion from Scientology, to say that anything, L. Ron Hubbard ever wrote is old or no longer used or applicable. Everything L. Ron Hubbard wrote that was homophobic and transphobic, a Scientologist is required to believe, and it is very much a part of Scientology. So John Leisure bringing this point up is not just sophistry. It is totally legit. Okay, let me see if there's anything else here I want to bring up about Scientology specifically. No, that's probably it for this one. Okay. Now, yeah, that is it. I need to look for any of the additional filings that were made. What I was not able to find, what was not on the docket yet, and it's Grant Cardone must have sent that tweet like the second his lawyers walked out of the courthouse, because I checked the docket. There was absolutely no filing. There was no motion. There was no ruling. There was no preliminary ruling, nothing whatsoever detailing the judge's decision and his ruling about the request to dismiss the lawsuit. Once I have that, I will revisit this. I will look for the extra attachments or exhibits or amendments giving detailing everything that John Leisure said in the Clubhouse chat, that Grant Cardone, he just cannot let it abide. No. Now, Grant Cardone has gone on various podcasts and specifically said that he is basically doing this lawsuit to shut down free speech. People have the right to say that, in their opinion, Grant Cardone is a fraud. John Leisure has the right to say, in my opinion, within a year, you'll be in prison. That's his opinion. He has every right to say this. Grant Cardone has essentially picked a fight with the internet, and it's not going to go well. Those fights don't go well. And when you enter Scientology into the mix, Scientology and the internet doesn't go well. Scientology loses every single time. Okay, let's see, guys. Quick. I do not have Barb in the back office starring anything, so I don't. I only have what's automatically starred here. Jill Davidson, welcome as a new channel member. I appreciate you being here. Joe Cognac, I love your Grant Cardone updates. Thank you very much. I love doing them. Karen McCourt says Cardone won't like Discovery. That is totally accurate. Aaron, are you a billionaire? Asks Lumpy the truck driver. How about this? I am as much of a billionaire as Grant Cardone is. Make of that what you will. And Julie Markham, welcome as a new member. Appreciate you. Glad to have you here. All right, everyone, that is all for now. I do think I even have something. I want to do some more videos this evening, updates on the Scientology lawsuits. Stay tuned for that. Thank you, everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.